Welcome to today's video. I wanted to share my journey of how I chose PRONATAL Spa, the clinic where we had our, can't see it, there's another one back here, and I have to carry them, otherwise I can't keep them calm right now, where we had our babies as donated embryos transferred. And in case you are looking at this video, you might have just looked at it randomly and found it because you're looking at someone having done this, embryo donation in the Czech Republic. You might look at going overseas. Maybe you're already in Europe and you're looking at more information about the specific clinic or just in general about having this procedure done in the Czech Republic. And I wanted just to talk about my experience, how this all went and what the steps were. The decision that we had, to come to the Czech Republic to have embryos donated came after like a whole, for years of trying naturally. We have one daughter that is ours and that we conceived naturally almost 10 years ago now. And after that, it took us a while to decide to have a second child, and then we were both older. My partner's even older than me. And so we thought embryo donation would be the best route given our ages. I'm very healthy. My cycles also are still regular, or were regular. I don't have a cycle right now because I'm breastfeeding full-time, the twins. So PRONATAL Spa is a clinic in Karlovy Vary, which in German we call it Karlsbad. It's a city really close to the German-Czech border. Since we live in Germany, that was close to us. I had another transfer a year before I had this one, and that was in Prague at IVF Europe, which actually was successful, but then the embryos, we also had two transferred, the embryos did not continue developing, so it was a blighted ovum, meaning there was like an empty sac. The sac grew, but there was not an embryo in there. So at 10 weeks, my body did what it needed to do naturally, and I had a natural miscarriage, which is also documented on this channel right here if you're interested. So I contacted PRONATAL Spa on their website, and it's kind of misleading. They're called PRONATAL Spa. They also at that same clinic do like beauty treatments, which is a little funny, but at the same time, why shouldn't they? I mean, there are doctors who did this, and then there are other people who do the beauty stuff. So the first consultation was online. They had, I just wrote them an email online, and then they got in contact with me. We set up an appointment, and that initial Skype call was, I think, 100 euros. I paid it, but that was, of course, deducted from my payment. They just don't want people to have these consultations and then shop around, and they invest the time. So we did that 100 euros and had the consultation, and they asked me a bunch of questions about some of my history, and they also agreed that I would be a good candidate to have a 2 embryo transfer because, I had this history of being extremely healthy and extremely fit, and no indications to where there should be major problems. Of course, twin pregnancies, you never know. Even a singleton pregnancy, you never know. Of course, the risk is potentially higher, but I was willing to take the risk because I wanted to increase our chances. And of course, we're blessed that both stuck. And now they're both here, 2 healthy babies. So the first initial consultation took place, and then we kind of started the process. They wanted me to do a chlamydia test with my doctor. They wanted different blood tests, TSH levels, and just kind of a general health assessment, which I got. And then we started monitoring my cycle, and the protocol that I wanted to go by, I kind of did a lot of research myself, and I told them I would like to do a modified natural transfer, meaning I use my natural ovulation, and then we just do a trigger shot, and then we transfer, and all I do is taking progesterone, which they only wanted me to take vaginally. And here in Europe, it's kind of a thing. I have not really talked to anyone doing, here in Europe, doing progesterone in oil. it's not a thing. And so I just did it vaginally until like about 12 weeks or so. And then I kind of weaned it off, just in case you might have a corpus luteum deficiency. But yeah, I requested the natural cycle. And they actually did want me to take estrogen, but I ended up not taking it after the transfer. That was my decision because I had done a lot of research, and knowing my own history, I thought, I think I don't need it. I also didn't take baby aspirin. Again, just taking my own risk, my own, you know, I just wanted to protect the babies from just these substances. But that's just my thing. I did my research, I made my informed decision, and everyone has to decide for themselves. The clinic, of course, they know their stuff, but of course they don't know me personally. So that is like, I have to kind of weigh the pros and cons and then make my decision. The cost of the transfer of 2 embryos when I did it, I don't know what their prices are now, if they've gone up, was 2,300 euros. That is around 2,500 US dollars, which I think is, it's not expensive at all. It's so cheap. That's one of the reasons why we went with embryo donation, because we were already open to adopt, and this is like an adoption but without the trauma. Plus, to everyone on the outside, these are our children, like biologically, because no one knows, no one has to know. And so it's just the most natural thing, and no one asks questions. And also I had the opportunity to carry them. And that is a huge thing, you know, like from the first minute of life, like I could try to do my best to give them everything I could to nurture them, and also my blood running through their veins and nurturing them. It just feels like a lot more, you know, even epigenetically, I could have a lot of influence on, you know, just how they turn out. That sounds wrong, like they turn out. It's like not. But I was basically baking them and providing the environment. So I had all the preparation here with my OBGYN. I had ultrasounds to check for my ovulation, and then whenever it came up, I have this all documented on this channel, the clinic gave me the go ahead and said, okay, now we want you to do the trigger shot like tonight, and then next week, like a week from now, you're going to have your transfer at this time. And we set a date. And then 1 week later, I went there and I had the transfer. Now, the actual day of the transfer, I mean, it's so quick, right? I go in, they don't do a lot of stuff there. It's just, you go in. I went into the office and I had a talk with the coordinator, and I was surprised. I was supposed to have a frozen embryo transfer, but she told me, well, we actually have fresh embryos for you that we had just created, and it just worked out that way to where they were fresh. I don't know actually if the eggs were frozen and they had just fertilized them a few days before, or if they were fresh eggs and they had fertilized them, depending on the donors. I want to talk a little bit about how they choose the donors. Now, in the Czech Republic, the donors are all young people. It's not like you're getting leftover embryos from couples that have done IVF, which normally if someone has done IVF, you know, something has not worked out naturally and there's a reason and cause. But they actually choose the donors. They're young people. They just, you know, they give them money to donate their eggs and their sperm. And when you want to have the embryo transferred, they ask you about, you know, like your blood type and your partner's blood type. They ask you about your eye color, your hair color, your height, and like a little bit of your interests and like your profession. And then they try to select the donors to where, you know, like it resembles, it's close to what you and your partner are, like how you are genetically, like just looks wise, you know. Of course, for us, it's really funny because, no, he's opening his eyes. Both babies, both donors were blonde and had blue eyes, which Andreas and I, we both are not blonde. We both don't have blue eyes. However, in our family, in my family, there are a lot of blue-eyed people. My dad had bright blue eyes. My brother has bright blue eyes. My cousins, and also on their dad's side of the family, you know, like my partner's family. And I've had blonde people in my family. I've had redheaded people in my family. So, I mean, it's totally possible, even to everyone on the outside, that we would have blonde-haired, blue-eyed babies. So it's not anything weird. But they try to select the donors to where it's not like weird off, like way off, right? And the donors are anonymous. So all you will ever know about the donors is like just those few parameters, you know, like how tall were they, eye color, hair color, and not much more, really. Their ages. So that's all, and the babies will never find out. You just have to be okay with that, which, you know, I think the way we're going to raise them is just to be very open and honest, and just to explain, you know, just to make it a normal thing, that this is how they were, that they came to us, and all that matters in the end is that they are incredibly loved, and we will, like, we're just loving on them like crazy, and like our family is totally loving on them like crazy, and I think that's the most important thing. So in the Czech Republic, you cannot have any procedures done like IVF, or I don't know if you, yeah, you probably, I don't know if you can do IVF, but the embryo donation program is only for couples. It's a law there, so they're not allowed to do it for single women. I have a couple of friends of mine who, like here in Germany, and one is in Switzerland actually, who are single ladies, and they did not have the option to go to the Czech Republic. They went, I think one of them went to Spain, and the other one also went to Cyprus once, and then to Spain another time. Never worked out, but it finally worked out then, actually doing IVF here in Germany with her own eggs, crazy as it is. She's also older, but it worked out. So you cannot be single and go to the Czech Republic. What you will have to do ahead of time, your partner has to sign, it has to be notarized, he has to sign the contract that you and your partner, you want to have this procedure done. We had to go to a notary and have it notarized, which was an ordeal during Corona, like this pandemic, and because like it was really hard to get appointments and to for anyone to take us in. So yeah, that's pretty much the procedure. And then of course the day of the transfer, you go in and you just I have a vlog about the day of the transfer, but you just go in, you just prepare, and then it takes literally a couple minutes for you to go in there. And there's a bunch of women, and everyone has a bed where you lie down, and then they will wheel you in the room where you have the transfer. And it was kind of cool because there were 3 other women in that time slot where I had my transfer. It's kind of like, one after the other. They, I think it was like 1 p.m. or 12 noon when my slot was, and there were 3 other women who had their time slots, and we kind of talked. It was kind of nice to just connect with some other women. I think they all did it with their own eggs. They had IVF, and it just happened to be that day was their transfer day, and I was the only one doing embryo donation. And then you just get wheeled in there, you lie down, and then they put in the catheter, put in those 2 embryos, print out one of those printouts where it's like hard to see anything. It's like that little blob. Those are my babies. I couldn't even see a blob. It's like, it's just whatever noise on the ultrasound. But anyway, you get in there, get the transfer, get your little picture, and then they tell you to lie down for a half hour, stay lying down, and then you can just go home, and that's it. And you go home. And then all you do is wait. They wanted me to actually wait 14 days, 2 weeks to do a pregnancy test. Of course, technically, you can do it a lot sooner. So, we did the transfer, of course. That would be a 5-day blastocyst transfer, which means, that's already 5 days after ovulation or after fertilization. And implantation already takes place. I started feeling symptoms like 3 or 4 days after transfer because they were fresh embryos, and I read that they do implant a bit faster than frozen ones. So 2-3 days after transfer, I started having those symptoms, and that's when they implanted. And that's when I had the hunch that I could be 2 because nausea hit me so hard and so early. Yeah, and then I went home, and in the aftermath, you know, I told them about the positive pregnancy test, and then they wanted me to go in and have the HCG checked. And you don't have a bunch of checks, they just want one HCG check just to have kind of like a verified, okay, you're actually pregnant, to where the level is high enough to where it's a pregnancy. And from there on out, they just tell you, okay, take this medication. For me, it was just the progesterone and oil. They wanted me to take prednisone. They wanted me to take well, they actually didn't recommend the baby aspirin, but they wanted me to take the estrogen, but I didn't. Like I said, it was my own decision because I did a lot of research, and for me personally, the clinic, they know their stuff, but I know me, I know my history, and I know my hormone levels because I had it all tested before. Oh, they're getting a little bit restless. Oh, he is, but here's Emil. And then, yeah, I had that was it. And then all I did, you know, was like at 12 weeks, I told the clinic, okay, I stopped the progesterone, everything is well, we saw the heartbeats and everything is perfect, and then that's it. And then of course I did send them an email after they were born to tell them we have 2 beautiful babies, and we're so in love, and it's the best thing we have ever done. So if you consider going to the Czech Republic to have embryos donated or have any procedure done, I can highly recommend it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, other than of course my daughter. But yeah, thanks for watching. He's getting restless. I hope you have a great day, be blessed, and baby dust to you.